This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined today by the mayor of Culver City. His name is Jim Clarke. And Mr. Clarke, as you know, I live just outside Culver City, so I feel impacted by the events that go on in Culver City. And
you're an honorary citizen.
I am. And one of the events in which I feel the impact is when planes fly over, because there's no doubt that our area is impacted by LAX traffic a little bit, Santa Monica Airport traffic. Give us a sense.
Well, we've noticed it, and in fact, our residents have noticed it. And over the last 2.5, 3 years, there's been a dramatic increase in the number of complaints that not only we've received, but they've been filed with the FAA over noise pertaining to overflights.
So are the noise complaints, because Culver City does go pretty far, I guess, south. I'm on the north end, the other side of it. Are the complaints mostly focused on LAX traffic, or is it Santa Monica Airport traffic?
No, it's LAX traffic, and it's from a number. It's from the the southbound flights coming in from Northern California or places that make a turn at Santa Monica and then fly over Culver City to go downtown. It's also from flights that, particularly cargo flights that come in from Asia, and they come in at really strange hours, and they also fly over Santa Monica and come down and make that turn as well.
Are there not, because I feel as if in Burbank Airport, you have to stop flying at 11, or landing at 11. Right. Does LAX
No,
have
but
that?
they changed the flight patterns so that they land from the ocean.
I see.
Unless there's a change in the wind patterns after certain hours.
But is it still happening? What you describe, it suggests.
Well, we think these are like early morning or late at night. So it could be 10 o'clock at night, could be 5 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning that we do. As a result of this, though, we're part of something called the Southern California Metroplex. There's 21 airports in this, including LA, Burbank, Ontario, John Wayne, San Diego, Santa Barbara. And the FAA is instituting a change in the flight paths.
Okay.
And what they're doing is they're going from a land-based radio navigation system to a satellite-based GPS system.
Why are they doing that?
Well, they're doing it in the name of greater fuel efficiency, because what they will be able to do is to narrow the flight paths using satellite navigation. But what that means is that more and more planes will be flying in a narrower flight path over specific areas.
And does that specific area include Culver City?
Oh yes, it includes a number of our neighborhoods. We also think that there's been a problem with respect to the altitude that these planes fly at. Now, there's always discretion on the part of the air traffic controller. Even though they have a specific procedure that they want them to fly, they have the ability to be able to alter that based on slotting in planes or weather conditions or whatever.
I want to understand, why does the transfer from land-based to satellite necessitate this need for the planes lining up in a more narrow fashion and therefore more dramatically impacting certain areas in Culver City?
I think you took geometry, right?
Okay.
Or one of these where it says,
barely.
What is the, what's the shortest distance between 2 points?
So that's the simple reason.
Yeah, if you can fly a pattern that's the shortest distance, you save fuel.
Okay.
You get the plane.
But it's always a push-pull, it's always a compromise. And suffice it to say, Culver City is not happy with the decision to adopt this now satellite-based procedure. And Culver City has filed a lawsuit.
Yes, correct. We filed a lawsuit against the FAA in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Okay.
We're not the only city, but we're probably the lead city. Newport Beach and Laguna Beach are also filing as a result of the change to the flight paths over John Wayne Airport. There's been lawsuits filed previously in Northern California against the FAA regarding flight paths for San Francisco International. Those will actually be going to a hearing in December.
And as I understand it, what the city is alleging, essentially there are 3 points. One, that the FAA did not appropriately consider noise and air quality impacts. Second, that the FAA did not consider greenhouse emission impacts. And third, kind of a catch-all, the cumulative impacts of the new satellite-based procedures.
That's pretty correct. The FAA, in going to this new plan, which they plan to roll out starting for us March of next year, required an environmental assessment. kind of like an EIR.
Okay.
And in that, they came up with what they call a finding of no significant impact, or FONSI.
Okay.
We believe that the environmental assessment is technically flawed because they used the wrong model for being able to evaluate the noise impact.
Explain.
There's a specific model that's required to be used in California, and it would apply to the FAA and to any other organization.
Even though the FAA is a federal agency?
Correct.
Okay.
And in doing so, if they use that model, it would basically lower the threshold for noise by 5 decibels. I'm getting a little too technical.
Important.
But we believe that had the FAA used the correct model, they would find that there was a significant impact resulting from the noise of the airplane, which would require them to mitigate.
And now, how could they mitigate? Let's talk solutions.
So 2 ways you can mitigate. One, raise the altitude of the planes so that they're not flying at a low level or lower levels than they currently are.
And do you feel as if, I know we're not experts, but help me, do you feel as if that gives the planes enough ability to descend and get onto the tarmac in such a way that's safe?
We're looking at some reports from Europe where they've done work in this area, and there may be actually some information that shows that coming in at a higher rate and descending steeper actually causes less noise and is safer.
Oh, really?
If you think about this, a plane flying at 30,000 feet is flying through thin air, so it can fly a lot faster. When you're flying at 3,000 feet or 4,000 feet, you're flying for more air, there's more resistance against you. So if you can come in at a higher altitude and descend sharper, and it doesn't create more noise, you're actually saving more fuel.
Okay.
So that's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do is diffuse the flight path. If I can, through satellites, narrow the flight path to, say, 1/10 of a mile or 2/10 of a mile, why can't I diffuse it so that I spread the noise out over other areas?
But is that as fuel efficient?
Well, the federal law says, yes, they're supposed to take into account fuel efficiency, but they're also supposed to take into account noise and air quality. And so we think that there's a compromise. Now, recently, the FAA Administrator, Michael Huerta, made a speech at an industry conference, and he said that because of the number of lawsuits, and we're not the only one on the West Coast, this is going on the East Coast, Phoenix has had it, Boston area, other parts of the country are filing lawsuits, that the FAA may be interested in negotiating and not necessarily implementing 100% of these procedures. So that's what we're filing this lawsuit to say, hey, we have a real concern here. We'd like to sit down and see if we can come to a negotiated settlement.
So what does that look like?
It would look at things such as altitude, and it would look at such things as the diffusion of the flight path throughout the area.
When will we know if the FAA will open negotiations? I mean, once the lawsuit's filed, that triggers certain...
It triggers, but it's probably 15 to 18 months before we would have a hearing. But as I said, there was a lawsuit initiated in Northern California, and that's scheduled for hearing in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal on December 14th. So we may be able to get some initial reaction.
In that lawsuit, do they also, in your mind, misapply the standard and not use California law like you believe they should have?
I'm not sure that it's, we've talked with the attorney for them, and they're sending us their information, so we'll know.
Okay, this is interesting, and I want you to come back, please, and give us an update on this, because it does impact a lot of folks in the Southern California area.
Definitely.
Yeah, his name is Jim Clarke. He is the mayor of the city of Culver City. My name is Brad Pomerance, coming to you from just outside Culver City. We're in Westchester, just barely. I'm Brad Pomerance. This is Charter Local Edition.